Well, listeners, as you know, we have been playing brand new music from Seether on our show over the last few weeks, which means only one thing: there's a new album coming out, and I've had a chance to sit down and take a listen to that brand new album, which is called The Surface Seems so far, and it is absolutely brilliant. So today we actually have Dale from the band on the phone to chat all about it. Welcome to the program, mate.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Now, mate, this album is, as I said, it is absolutely brilliant. So I was wondering if you could start off by going right back to the beginning and telling us a little bit about what kind of things were you guys talking about when you first started to work on this album?
Well, firstly, thanks. Yeah, this album, I guess you could say it began during the whole kind of COVID lockdown time. We'd actually just released or actually just finished recording our last album, CV's Pacum Parabellum. Just got done recording that, and then started hearing these murmurs of this weird, disease or sickness that was going around, and then boom, lockdowns. We're like, okay, well, we've got this new album. What do we do? So we released it, and we weren't able to tour, and the whole world went nuts, and yeah, we were just kind of stuck at home, thinking like, okay, well, what do we do? So, yeah, that's kind of when it started. I guess when you're home, you just have a lot of time to kind of sit around. I know Sean spent many hours in studio writing, coming up with lyrics, and lyrically, it's pretty. A lot of the stuff's pretty dark, and I think it comes out of the frustration just of that time and the uncertainty of that time. Like, when you get the rug pulled out under you, hey, are we ever going to be able to tour again and play music and do what we love most? And yeah, so it's it's a pretty dark album, I'd say, and it's that's definitely where a lot of that comes from.
Yeah, how did you find that time personally? Because I found that with creative people, they went either way. There was either that chance that, hey, the whole world is shut down, I don't have to go to work every day, I can concentrate on being creative and work at home. But then I also had a lot of other creative friends who were like, I'm trapped, I can't get out into nature, I can't go out and do anything, my creativity's dried up. But how did you find that time? Did you find that you were pretty creative during that time?
Yeah, I think so. And I was in a pretty good headspace. I feel like, it kind of depends where you were, a lot of it during the lockdown. I live in Georgia and in America, and the lockdowns here weren't as strict as certain other places.
Yep.
So I could still go to the beach and go fishing and, hang out with my mates and drink whiskey. And, so I actually didn't have a terrible time, aside from not being able to work and play shows and tour and just do the things I've been doing for 20 years. Aside from that, I guess in a weird way, it was kind of a good thing because I got to spend so much time with my wife. We had 2 children, in the last, 3 years. That kind of came out of the COVID stuff too. So I've never had that much time at home or that much time off. So just connecting with family, and then just being home and just being creative. What else can you do? Just focus on new music and whatever you want to do. If you're trying to pick up a hobby or anything, there was so much time to fill. So yeah, maybe in a weird way, it was a bit of a reset and kind of a good thing. My kids came out of it, so it's definitely a good thing because I like being a dad a lot. So
Yeah. Yes, I loved it because it gave me the opportunity to concentrate on writing and things like that. And we had a really harsh lockdown here for nearly 2 years. We were only allowed outside for 1 hour a day. Weren't allowed to go any more than 5 kilometers from your house. But I know a lot, I don't know whether John has said this to you, but I know a lot of drummers said that their bodies got right for the first time in years, because normally when they're out touring, their bodies get beat up. Did he say anything about that?
He actually he didn't mention it specifically, but he does look pretty good. You know, he's not walking funny like he used to. You know, Johnny really did his back in drumming over the years. You know, had major back surgery, and you know, so he's had all those horrible kind of drum related injuries. So yeah, I think 2 years off did him good.
Yeah. So the writing happened during COVID for this album, but were you guys able to head into the studio and record as normal once everything lifted, or did you guys even record this one remotely?
No, we recorded together. We recorded in Nashville, and you know, it's, you know, okay, you got to wear your masks and this and that, and then funny enough, our engineer who was engineering the album, he got COVID. And
yep.
He was going to try and tough it out. And he's like, guys, I'm going to wear a mask and gloves and this and that. And, you know, we just got one more day. We just got to do, you know, we're trying to like finish up. We knocked out like the drums and the bass in like 4 days on like 16 tracks. Like we were really going for it.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, oh, making good headway. And we're all like psyched and pumped. And we're just trying to like finish up a couple more things. And he got COVID, and we're like, okay, well, we can do it. And then the guys who run the studio were like, oh my God, what are you doing? You gotta get out of here. And they're like basically kicked us out, and like, whoa, hey, like, and sanitized everything, and like burnt sage, and like went nuts. Or I don't know what they did, but we're like, oh, okay, you know, it's not that big of a deal anymore. Like, you know, in the beginning it was scary, but now, like, we know it's not as bad as everyone thought. But it was kind of funny. But I get it. You know, they're trying to run a business, so we kind of called that session a day, went home, and then reconvened a couple of weeks later in Nashville, and kind of finished it all up. And we did the whole thing pretty quick, man. I want to say start to finish maybe took under 4 weeks,
yep.
3 weeks and change. To do everything on 16 tracks, you know. Yeah, we just we get in there, we get it done. I think I don't know if it's old school work ethic or maybe we're just getting better at playing and a little bit more efficient in the way we work. But yeah, we knocked it out pretty quick.
Yeah. One of the things that really hits me whenever you guys bring out a new album is it always feels like it's better than the album before. What is it there that motivates you guys to keep getting better and better? Because, of course, you guys have had #1 hits, you've had #1 albums, and a lot of bands go into cruise control when that happens, but you guys continually work to get better and better. What motivates you to do that? And also, how do you guys do that? Like, is it something that you guys talk about?
Well, thank you. I'm glad someone thinks so. You know, I don't know. I mean, I hope it's the case that, you know, each album is better. It's hard to look at it, you know, subjectively sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we do kind of push ourselves to get better, and again, we do have a good work ethic. But it's not like a well thought out sort of plan. You know, we never set out to make an album. Oh, we need an album that sounds like this, or oh, it needs to be heavier, or you know, it needs to have more of this kind of feel or influence. You know, it's just, you know, we just kind of make music and you know, pick the best songs or what we think are the best songs from that session, put those on the album. That is what the album ends up sounding like. It's not like there's no sort of mission statement in the beginning saying, okay, we're going to make an album that's going to be this kind of album. You know, the album just kind of ends up how it ends up. You know, it kind of gets a life of its own, and you know, grows and changes and becomes this thing that just is this sort of snapshot in time of you know, where the band is at that specific moment of time, and that, yeah, it's just kind of happens like that.
Yeah, Sean always writes such heartfelt lyrics as well. There's never a time when, like, every time I listen to one of your albums, I always end up finding a song on there where I think I know exactly where he's coming from on that, or I've been through that. For you as a bandmate, what's that like when he gives you like such raw lyrics like Dead on the Vine or Regret, a track like that? What's that like for you as a bandmate when you get those raw emotional lyrics and you read them for the first time?
Right. Yeah, I think it's great. I think Sean's a great lyricist for sure. And it's funny. He's even with his bandmates, if you're like, hey, what's that song about? Like, he won't really say. I feel like oftentimes, we kind of know, or we think, okay, well, I think it's about this or about that. But yeah, it's very much almost like a diary for him. A way to maybe get rid of something that's bothering him, or something from the past. And that's why a lot of stuff is pretty dark, because it kind of comes from a dark place, and it's almost like a little therapy session maybe sometimes to get things off your chest and lighten the load a little bit. But yeah, I just I know what they mean to me. I don't push him to explain exactly what he's talking about, because he writes in such a way to where it's specific enough to where it conveys a definite feeling or an emotion, or I guess a message, but it's not specific enough to where it's kind of spelled out to you. So it's looking at maybe a sculpture or like a painting that's a bit abstract. Like you can kind of derive your own meaning from it. Maybe if you knew exactly what the guy was trying to paint, it wouldn't mean as much, because how you perceived it was a little bit more special, or at least personal to you. So
yeah.
Yeah.
You had Sean producing this time, but you also worked with Matt Hyde on this album. What was that like for you as an artist, working with them both in those roles? Was it like watching geniuses work together?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's Sean's actually a great producer, and Matt, he's very much the engineer of the whole thing, and that guy's a machine. I don't think he ever sleeps.
Yeah,
he just drinks coffee and smokes cigars and like goes. He's like the Energizer button. Yeah, so it's he's a great guy, and we've been working with Matt now for a while, and he's kind of like that fifth member of the team at this point. But yeah, it's so cool having Sean produce, because I feel like when you have a producer, they obviously trying to do their job and have their say and get a certain outcome, but now you have another set of opinions in the room. You have another I don't know, someone else's schedule that you have to try and work around. All these kind of things. When it's just us four, we go in, like, if we want to work all day, we work all day. If we're like, look, let's not come in tomorrow, you don't come in. We just, and we do what we do. I feel like oftentimes, a producer might get some sort of marching orders from the label saying, hey, just, if they start getting a little too rowdy, if the song's a little too heavy, kind of reel it in a little bit, because we want some radio friendly tracks on this one for singles. And when Sean's at the helm, it's like, hey man, we're gonna make it as heavy as we want. So it's in a way, it's like a throwback to back in the day, like before you even have a record deal. Like, you just play whatever you want to play. There's no one kind of looking over your shoulder saying, no, maybe we should do this, or how about we change that. It's like, no, we want to do this. We're angry, or this one want this to be like that, and no one can tell you otherwise. And it's just, I don't know, it's just an efficient way to work, and I think, a creative and an effective way to work for us. So I think that's basically just how we're going to do it from here on out.
Definitely, and the results speak for themselves. I know we are running out of time very quickly, so I've just got two quick questions. First of all, one that all of our listeners have been asking: is there a chance that you guys will be touring in Australia at some stage soon?
No plans set in stone yet, but I'm hoping that next year we'll come out that way. I'm not exactly sure what the schedule holds or what management and the booking agents have in mind in terms of touring, but just on a purely selfish level, I'd love to do it. I love Australia. So we always have a great time there. We got a lot of friends out there. A lot of South Africans there, as you know. So always a great time. Always a cool place to visit. So I'm hoping that we do come there sooner than later.
And to finish off, what would you like to say to all of our listeners out there before they go out and grab the Surface Seam So Far on the 20th of September?
Well, if they've decided to buy it, thank you. Thanks for supporting us and allowing us to still play music after all this time and do what we love. And as long as you guys keep buying the music and coming to the shows, we'll keep putting it out. So thank you guys. Yeah.